Alright, what are we doing today? I'm finally going to get around to making a new concealed carry holster for my Kel-Tec P3AT with Crimson Trace laser sights. My old one holster that I had made worked fairly well, but I've learned that this part's way too tight. I was worried that it might slip out or something. So, but once the leather actually molds to the firearm and wraps around the edge, it's very secure. It does not fall out, and it's actually kind of hard to draw because this part was so tight. So I'm going to loosen this up quite a bit. I'm going to use the last of my black goat skin that I have to line it with, instead of the natural buckskin colored goat skin. Alright, let's see. This side up, it'll be the inside. The unfinished grain leather goes in. Alright, here we go. Actually, kind of cut out. We'll tool this side with basket weave. Center line is here. The firearm, that center line should wrap around about the center of the firearm itself. Should go up to about here on the leather. Once this is molded, it'll mold around the back end of the firearm and shield any sharp edges from fat bellies. Now you have to wet the whole thing down, otherwise you get watermarks if you don't wet the whole thing down. Even though I'm only tooling this side, you have to wet it down, the entire piece of leather, otherwise you get a funny, watermark. Alright, the leather's wet enough now, and we'll put this basket weave pattern in. One punch per basket weave, and if you look at this one, it's one punch across, and then you offset half a tool, go back across the other side, offset half tool, and go back across the other side. That'll turn into a basket weave pattern. Now do a little camouflage down the side. Just so the edges are kind of camouflaged with this, I don't know, call it a, looks like a fern leaf pattern or something. And it just kind of camouflages the edge a bit, and it's kind of on the center line. It'll fold over fairly nicely too, right around the edge there. So there you go. We'll let it dry a bit, and I usually put some temporary stitching in it, and then I'll actually mold it around the firearm. Put some temporary stitching on the edges and squish it down and mold it around the firearm. Get a good position for it. Get a position for this thing, for the clip. Alright, I put some temporary stitching in here now and wet the leather down really well and molded the leather around the firearm itself there. It's nice and loose, not snug at all. That's just like I wanted it. From here I'll dye it jet black and then mount the clip, And with this extra material I have here, it'll keep it from the clip from ever touching or marring up the firearm itself. I'll mount that clip, and then I'll line it with the black coat hide, so it'll be black on black, and then I'll trim up the excess leather around it, and it'll fit just nice. Alright, let's dye this now. Try not to let it run down the backside. I'll leave this natural leather color, and I'll just seal it with acrylic sealant. But anyway, here we go. Alright, as soon as pretty much dried up, I'm going to seal it, because handling it, I noticed I transfer a lot of the black dye to the unfinished the undyed half quite often, so I'm going to seal it up real quick. Alright, I got this thing sealed up. I've popped a couple holes in the leather. I'm going to set these rivets. I've got one rivet set through there already with the back plate, and I'll set it down and put it in between a vise or something, space it out, and drive that rivet home. My left hand holds the leather up out of the way. Maybe we'll even close the vise a little bit, make sure the bit is aligned. Rivet in place. This one you can just set it right in the middle there. I think. Straight mostly here. Alright, let's finish this up. Alright, got our contact cement going. And this stuff kind of has long strings that come out sometimes. So I put paper down and try and keep this I cross from one side to the other to keep some of the contact cement away from your piece that you're working on. So anyway, let's see how this works. Try and get rid of the excess contact cement on the brush handle part. Start in one spot and work your way out usually. A lot of times I'll move it across the paper. I'll start close like this because I'm going to come and brush right off the edge of the piece that I'm working on. So I get the edge, I'm going to brush right off the edge. So I'll sit here and bring the contact cement right over to the edge here, and then I'll move it over out of the way so I don't get it on the outside of the piece I'm working on. And we'll see if we can get it on here. Approximately in this area there. Get it. Let's just start. Get a starting place going. Pretty thin, nice and pliable. And let's roll it over close. So we can get a little closer here, compare it up there. Alright, here we go. Right up to the very edge, and it adheres really well. The contact cement, it sticks to itself, so the sticky on the goat hide and the sticky on the leather, and this is almost dry here, but it's right up to the edge there. Looks good. Alright, liner's all trimmed up, ready to get sewn up. And then I'll trim off the excess here, halfway through, and then try and get the one thread out of the way. But I've come up, and I go back down. Now, in theory, if I had two needles, then I just use one at a time. I would take the other one and go up and in also. But like I said, I just go do a conventional in and out stitch down the one way, down the one side once, and then take the other thread and do an in and out stitch. So it's just like a saddle stitch, but I double up. I loop this first one here. See, I've come to the end. I've come up through this last one, and there, right here, there's no thread, so I'll go back through it and see where there's no thread here. Now there'll be a thread, and I'll go down it a little bit. Start this other thread going. This is a wax thread of some type from Tandy leather. So anyway, I double this first one up because I want this nice and strong. See, it's hard to send through kind of now. So I'll go and actually see there's no stitch here. I've already doubled it up once there. And then we'll go through. See, no stitch. But this is the other end of the thread that I'm working through here. And it makes for a really strong stitch that doesn't come unwoven, unstitched if one of the lines gets cut somehow. But see, there's no stitch, and then a stitch. And I'll probably run this back up as far as I can, as long as I can work it through that hole without busting the needle. I'll bring it all the way back up, so it'll be a double, triple saddle stitch really when I'm done. But it makes for a nice, good looking, very strong stitch here. See how it's not skipping stitches anymore. Fills in each one. Alright, got it all trimmed up nicely, good and tight. This leather will roll over later as you wear it. It'll custom form to the firearm. You can see like this one here after a little bit of wear. I only sealed the button area, the dimple here, on this last one, and the rest is unsealed, so you can see how your body oils turned it a chestnut color. I sealed the whole back end this time for this one, but yeah, it's nice and very comfortable. It's very nice smooth leather that'll be touching you. No sharp pointy anythings, and it came out pretty nice. I made this one for my Smith & Wesson subcompact M&P 9mm, but you can tell the difference in size, never mind thickness. The Kel-Tec P3AT, I mean, super concealed carry, very, very nice compact piece. It never prints on me, and came out nice. I like it. We'll see how it does.